Today, we're going to talk about something that feels, well, fundamental, the inalienable right to life. But here's a question for you. Is that right really as absolute and untouchable as it sounds? Let's dig in and find out. You've probably heard these words before, right? They're from the American Declaration of Independence, and they are absolutely iconic. They really paint this picture of a world where certain rights are just a given. You can't buy them, you can't sell them, and nobody can take them away. And look what's first on that famous list, life. It's presented as this core, self-evident truth, a right that's supposed to be absolute, something we all get just for being human. It's something most of us, let's be honest, just take for granted. But what if that's not the whole story? I mean, this is the central and kind of challenging question we're diving into today. What if this supposedly untouchable right actually has conditions? So to explore this, we're grounding our explainer in a philosophical paper by Tennyson Samraj, and he makes this fascinating argument that the right to life is, quote, defensible in principle, but defeasible in praxis. In other words, while the idea of the right is sacred, in practice, well, it can actually be forfeited or lost. Let's break down how he gets there. So to start, Samraj zeroes in on this central paradox. This really deep conflict between the principle we all say we believe in and the reality of how we actually practice it. And here's that core tension laid out pretty clearly. In principle, we believe the right to life is absolute, can't be touched. But in practice, well, our societies accept things like self-defense or even capital punishment, where that right is very clearly taken away. So how can both of these things be true at the same time? Samarjaz's first step in solving this paradox is to totally reframe the right to life. He says it's not just something that's given to us, but something we actively choose. He introduces this idea of an existential right. And what that means is it's not just about the state of being alive. It's about the freedom to make the most fundamental choice of all, the choice about your own existence. And this quote from his paper just illustrates the point perfectly. See, according to this view, the right to life isn't some permanent status. It's an active choice we make. It's self-imposed every single day we choose to keep on living, and it can be self-deposed if that choice changes. It all starts from within us. Now, this core idea of self-determination, it kind of branches out into three key liberties. First, you've got the right to preserve yourself. Second, the right to make these huge, fundamental choices. And third, the right to defend yourself. You see how that all flow from that one central idea of individual choice? Okay, so the right has this individual, existential part to it. But Samraj argues that's only half the story. Rights also exist between people. He calls this a reciprocal right. Think of it like a social contract or a two-way street. My right to life is respected because I respect yours. Its whole existence is based on this mutual obligation we have to each other. And self-defense is the perfect example of this in action. The argument goes that when an attacker threatens your life, they've just violated that reciprocal agreement. They broke the contract. So in that moment, your right to life can actually supersede theirs. So we've got the individual and we've got the social. The third piece of this puzzle? Well, that's the role of the state and our legal system. The argument continues that the right to life is also a constitutional right. And this is crucial. It means that while the right is recognized, it's not above the law. The state, through due process, can legally revoke it, which is what we see in cases of capital punishment for really severe crimes. And hey, this isn't some brand new idea. The paper points to the philosopher John Locke, who argued centuries ago that by trying to take another person's life, an aggressor basically forfeits their own. They've opted out of the very social contract that was protecting them. So how do all these pieces, the existential, the reciprocal, and the constitutional, how do they all fit together? Well, this brings us to the final big conclusion. This table really brings the whole argument together nicely. On one side, you have the principle, the de jure view, what the right is by law or as a perfect idea. But on the other side, you have the practice, the praxis, how it actually works in the real world. So while the principle is this beautiful, inalienable truth, the practice is a conditional reality. It's a right that can be forfeited. It is, in one word, defeasible. So here's the bottom line, the crucial point. Samraj's argument solves that paradox we started with by basically splitting the concept in two. The idea of the right to life, absolutely defensible. But in the real world, in practice, it is defeasible. It can be lost. And this leaves us with a really powerful question to chew on. If we accept this idea that the right to life isn't absolute but defeasible, how does that change the way we think about justice, about freedom, and maybe even about the ultimate value we place on life itself? It's a challenging thought for sure, and definitely one worth thinking about.